Hello, hello. Welcome to Oracle Hour. My name is Sabrina Rising. I'm a spiritual teacher and a psychic medium, and it's my honor to channel spirit on your behalf as the Oracle. Welcome to our broadcast. I love being here with you every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Welcome to our community members. I can see that you're already here in the chat. We've got questions pending. I'm so excited to jump in and answer your questions and channel for you. For those of you that are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Here we go. Instagram. Let me go live. Here we go. I don't know if we're live on Instagram. Lyriel, you have to check that for us. So for those of you that are watching anywhere other than YouTube, please put your, please come and join us on YouTube at Sabrina Rising so you can put your question in the chat. I answer questions on a first come, first serve basis, of course, unless you are a community member. For those of you that are considering joining our Inner Oracle community, we have a membership link available for you that Lyria will post here in a moment. Once you join the channel, you can join as a seeker, and that gives you priority in the chat. There is a link to join our community. Or you can also join the Inner Oracle community, which is at $49.99 a month. And that gives you access to all of my spiritual content, all of my classes, all of my courses, workshops, mediumship demonstrations, psychic gallery events that I've done over the years. Everything is there for you for members only. Of course, all of the content is ad-free. As part of the Inner Oracle community membership, you get access to a private Facebook group where I go live in that group and we do some inner work together. I do some guided practices and I offer coaching, one-to-one coaching, and answer questions. So we're more connected in that Facebook group as well. Okay, so something to consider while you're watching. Of course, you know, I'm here every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So if you have any questions, you can always leave a comment at the end of this video, or you can reach out to me on my website. All of my links are available on my bio, on my homepage of YouTube. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining me live. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to heal the relationship with our bodies. This is such an important topic because for so many of us that are on a healing journey, of course, if you're a human and you're attracted to spirituality, or you're attracted to spiritual concepts, ideas, or if you're here at all, then you're obviously leaning into a healing journey, whatever that healing journey looks like for you. If you're a human being, you're here to heal. You're here to learn how to embody unconditional love. And the physical body is usually the first point of entry. And I say this because oftentimes human beings are so resilient, and we naturally are inclined to go into survival mode, that we will often ignore our spiritual disconnection, our emotional stress, our mental stress. We'll ignore the signs and the signals until we reach a point of physical symptoms, physical disease, and that physical disease will bring our attention to pardon me. Okay. So our physical disease will bring our attention to where we are out of alignment. Okay. So oftentimes, and again, we're talking about all kinds of discomfort in the body, not just body dysmorphia, for example, or eating disorder behavior, or just, not loving your body or being hypercritical in your body. We're also talking about feeling uncomfortable in your body in a sense where you're struggling from disease, you're struggling from issues and ailments and things that are just not functioning well on a physical level. Every physical symptom has an emotional root. Okay. So in early childhood conditioning, when we are in our caregiver environments, most of us learn how to dissociate from our bodies depending on the level of volatility, trauma, all of the fear that you learned in your early childhood environment. Even if it was relatively benign, there may have been a lot of emphasis on your physical appearance. There may have been a lot of emphasis on the body as a way of either feeling special or feeling seen or feeling recognized. And this is particularly true for women. I know it's true for men as well, but I worked with so many women over the years that have had body dysmorphia and eating disorder behavior. I, of course, suffered from eating disorder behavior in my late teens, early 20s, all the way to my early 30s, it was something that I really grappled with. And I want to say that, specific to eating disorder behavior, or the relationship to your body itself, is more of a way to cope with the expectations of society, the relationship you have with yourself, learning how to, I want to say, synthesize your self love with your physical experience. Okay. And this is where disease comes in, because when we don't love ourselves, when we compare ourselves to other people, when we compare ourselves to, what society thinks we're supposed to look like, we can easily fall into self loathing and self-harm. So again, healing the relationship with your body requires radical, unconditional self-love, just like anything else in your life that you want to heal. And so, for me, in terms of my own personal journey around my healing my relationship with my body, I realized that I was using my body as a way to cope with my feelings. I didn't have the capacity to cope with uncomfortable emotions. And so, learning to starve myself, essentially I was starving from love, but learning to starve myself was a way to cope with these uncomfortable emotions. And that's what I used to cope for many years. And body disconnection was created for me prior to that, in terms of trauma, in terms of physical violence, and growing up in a volatile environment. And so again, let's say you're someone who, for example, you didn't struggle from eating disorder behavior or from body dysmorphia, but you had a lot of trauma in your early childhood. You might have learned to already disconnect from your body and disassociate from what was happening to you as a way to cope. It's like moving into survival mode so that you can cope with what's happening around you without having to feel it. And this creates a sense of numbness, just like eating disorder behavior creates a sense of numbness, just like self-harm, cutting, creates a sense of numbness. And what that does is it helps us cope with these uncomfortable emotions that we don't have the skills to process. And again, depending on the environment you're raised in, this trauma can vary, right? The degree, the intensity of the trauma that you faced or interacted with can be, it can be anywhere from mild to unlivable. And so again, how we learn to the relationship we have with our bodies is usually a reflection of the love that we have for ourselves, the love that we learn to interpret in our caregiver environment. And for some of us, that love was deeply lacking and scarce. Okay, so and then of course we move into a culture that puts pressure on, looking a certain way, or, having a certain appearance and so on, and puts a lot of emphasis on that. And so we can start to really either restrict or become rigid with the relationship we have with our bodies as a way of fitting in, as a way of creating a sense of belonging, even as a way of creating a sense of specialness, right? So if you are someone who struggles with your relationship to your body, whether it's from a mental health perspective, not loving yourself, not feeling comfortable in your skin, or perhaps it's from, a disease perspective, a medical health condition perspective, where you're just not comfortable in your body and you're having all these malaises and this dysfunction, your body is trying to, your body is trying to inform you. It's sort of mirroring back to you all of the areas in which you are not fully loving yourself. You're not listening to its signals. You're not, cooperating with its needs and using it in a way that it's meant to be used for, as the temple of your soul, the soul that wants to express itself as unconditional love. And oftentimes when we shift our mindset around our beliefs about, what we look like or what we're supposed to feel, or, how to cope with our uncomfortable emotions, how to live in a healthy, not just a physically healthy way, but a mentally and emotionally healthy way, a way where we have inner peace. Our journey sort of unfolds, and it brings us to a point where we have no choice but to take personal responsibility for the quality of our physical condition. Okay, so the body is an entry point to, I want to say, to deeper spiritual evolutionary processes. Okay, so healing the relationship with my body was like the first thing that I really had to address. And that allowed me to go deeper into my own spiritual practice. It allowed me to, reconnect with my physical self, to learn to see it as beautiful, to accept it as whole and complete. And it was through that process of healing that I was able to, come online with my intuition, with my gifts, and to feel a rooted sense of self-love and self-acceptance. Of course, this is an ongoing evolutionary process for so many of us because your body changes over time. And again, the way we perceive our circumstances, the way we internalize our emotions will have a physical impact on how we feel in our bodies. Okay. And that is so important to recognize, that the relationship with your body is a mirror for how you are loving and or how you are not loving yourself. And so, for those of you that are struggling, I love to always offer this mirror exercise in my coaching containers and my one-to-one containers. I offer this exercise where you sort of stare into the mirror, and you can do it with clothes on, without clothes on, whatever your preference is, and just kind of learn to hold your gaze on every part of your body until you stop cringing, until you can sort of soften your gaze and really lean into an experience of deep self-love, not just loving your physical beauty, but also loving and appreciating the body that you have, and being grateful for the use that it provides, the purpose of this body, the fact that it's carried you through so many situations, so many life events, the fact that that it can heal itself, and that it's always reliable and available to you. Throughout the course of my life, it's been so useful for me to just stop and appreciate my physical body, and what it's doing for me and how it's allowing me to move around in the world. Okay, so practicing appreciation and gratitude is a wonderful starting point for those of you that are struggling with your relationship to your body. Again, if you're stuck in physical disease, ailments that are very severe that require medical attention, of course, always seek professional help, and also do the inner work. Do the inner work to heal those unresolved wounds, the unhealed trauma from your childhood, from your past, that will allow you to soften internally. And that mindset shift and the healing that happens, especially through cathartic release, if you're doing deep inner child work, will also help create ease and space in the body. And once the cells, and I say this all the time, the belief system influences every cell in your body. And once those cells receive positive messaging, they receive healthy messages, messages of healing, messages of hope, messages of positive affirmation, they will shift and they will express themselves physically in a way that feels more at ease and more at peace and more relaxed. And of course, this is a beautiful practice to have in terms of the relationship with your body, to be able to be with it, to be able to spend time with it, to be able to honor it and cherish it, and express gratitude for it, so that you can come into full acceptance of the body that you have. For those of you that are struggling with body dysmorphia, for example, sometimes we use dieting or rigid meals and, rigid sort of restrictive ways of eating, very specific ways of eating, in order to achieve a certain physical goal. And again, this is no different than trying to manipulate an outcome or being really attached to an outcome. We suffer when we do this because it's not natural to us. We want to learn how to eat intuitively, just like we want to learn how to practice and develop our intuition so we can receive guidance from our higher selves. We want to learn how to use that same guidance that I'm advocating that you use on a day-to-day basis to answer your own questions, like, is this right for me? Is this serve my highest and best good? That same intuition to sort of, pick and choose what foods feel good in your body, what nourishes your body, what is what environments your body is going to thrive in, and what your body actually needs, when it needs rest, when it needs, to be awake and alert and move. So it's really important, because as souls that come into this incarnation in early childhood, we learn to disconnect and disassociate from our bodies, not just through trauma, but also because we're not necessarily free to express ourselves the way we want to. And so, we're learning to sort of betray our own rhythms in order to fit into some societal norm or to some cultural idea of when it's time to wake up, when it's time to go to bed, when it's time to have breakfast, when it's time to have lunch, and so on and so on. And so we become disconnected from our own rhythms. And part of the process of healing is just to simply learn to reconnect to your own natural rhythms. We often use time in nature to recalibrate so that we can feel more in sync with nature. And this allows us to feel more at home and more at peace with ourselves. And of course, as we engage in these processes, all of our suppressed emotions, all of our pain, all of our malaise that has been accumulated over time starts to come to the surface so that we can process those uncomfortable emotions and heal them and feel more at ease, and as I mentioned earlier, create more spaciousness in the body. So again, I started my healing journey around eating disorder behavior and body dysmorphia with mindfulness and deep inner work, spiritual practices, and learning to embody this energy of unconditional love, really practicing in very small practical ways, and learning to let go of any idea of any rigidity of what I was meant to eat or what my body was meant to look like, so that I could just soften into this intuitive way of operating and accept that however the most loving thoughts and the most loving intentions towards my body were going to create the circumstances or the physical expression that I can, that I show today, that I am today, that I can embody today. And so I wish that for every single one of you, those of you that are struggling with body issues or uncomfortable, relationship to your body, or perhaps you're struggling with physical malaise. Again, the body is your temple, and the relationship that we develop with it will always guide us back to loving ourselves, to embodying unconditional love fully, wholly, and completely. And we can heal. We can heal with our belief system, with our willingness, and with our openness to just trusting nature, trusting our own natural rhythms, and learning to reconnect to those rhythms as we live out this human life with these physical bodies. Okay, so it's a very broad subject, very sort of specific ideas in this subject in terms of my own personal experience. I would love to hear from anybody watching, anyone in the community that has some questions or concerns about their physical body, and if you're having some issues in your body currently, and if you want any guidance along those lines, I'd love to hear from you. You can put your question in the chat, or you can leave your comments at the end of this video. I know it's a tender subject, so feel free to just comment at the end as well. Okay, beautiful. Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to say hi to everybody. Hi, Dietrich. Hi, Emily. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Tina. Nice to see you all. Hello, Shiloh. Beautiful. Okay, Lyriel, let's jump into some live questions and let's find out here. Let's go in order. Here we go. Hi, Dietrich. Thanks for being here. Dietrich says, this time last year, I was in a job I hated. Last week, I found out I didn't get the job I wanted. Is this a sign I need to try a new creative outlet? I'm a writer, but I'm bored out of my mind. Okay. Okay. So I don't think you actually wanted the job. And I'll tell you why, because I think there's a part of you that applied for this job as a means of creating security and safety for yourself, not really as an expression of your soul, right? So it's so important that we really take a look at when the circumstances unfold in a particular way, that it's really serving our highest and best good. So you say you didn't get the job that you wanted, but I believe that your unconscious self was actually blocking it, okay? Because you want to be, you just said, is this a sign that I'm meant to do something more creative? And I think we talked about your writing before. Yes, I actually see. There's two things I see. First of all, I'll give you my psychic hit. I actually think that there's another position, a job that's a little more creative, that feels like it's part-time or something, that's going to show up somehow. And this is not in your energy field yet, but I feel like it's imminent. So this is something that is on your trajectory. And in the meantime, it gives you the opportunity to build something of your own. This is how it's going to go for you. I kind of feel like there's like a fork in the road and there's two pathways, and you can try to keep applying for full-time jobs, or you can go this way and build the thing that you really love and really want to do. And that's the thing that's going to light your fire and bring you joy and bring you, it's a leap of faith though. So Dietrich, you're going to have to learn to hold the void, which is very scary. for so many of us, because we want the stability and safety of knowing we have consistent income. But learning to hold the void, especially if you are on an entrepreneur journey, starting your own thing, is an important walk of faith and trust. I often think it's a spiritual path being an entrepreneur, because you're really learning to trust your relationship with God, with spirit, with universal intelligence, leaning into your soul nudges and trusting that your intuition is guiding you every step of the way. Okay. This is how I've lived my life for the last 20 years. So, this is such a beautiful unfolding. You just have to learn how to not overthink, overanalyze, and deepen your practice, and trust that this creative process that you're in, especially the writing part, I actually think that maybe even this part-time situation could involve writing somehow. So maybe you're doing some reports or analysis or writing in some capacity. This sort of brings in some income while you create something that you're more passionate about. Okay. Um, and so this is why you're bored out of your mind. This is definitely the way to go. So something more creative, something definitely that involves writing. And it feels like there is this path that involves either some kind of part-time opportunity that sort of creates this stability that your intellectual self needs, the conscious mind needs, until you can fully immerse yourself into either freelancing or doing something that really brings you joy. Actually, freelancing feels more like it suits your personality, but you need the inner structure to be able to sustain, like I said, holding the void, to be able to sustain the ebbs and flows of what it means to live that way. Okay. That's my message for you, Dichi. Feel free to validate, of course, if this resonates for you. Otherwise, you can come back and leave a comment at the end. Beautiful. Okay, who's next? Hi, Jenna. Nice to see you, Jenna. Hi, Sabrina. Just listened to your meditation on your website today, which was awesome. Oh, I'm so glad. Any messages for my guys to continue my path? Yes, I actually saw, Jenna, I saw your message as well. So I'm going to be replying to you later. I didn't have a chance to reply yet. But let me see what messages I have for you tonight. Mhm. Okay. So so I feel like I mean, it's kind of poignant because we're coming to that phase, like the end of the year phase of like reflection and just, you know, again, creating awareness around all the things that you've cultivated this year, bringing gratitude to certain parts of your life. It feels like there's obviously there's an emphasis on family, and I say obviously because it's kind of like we're entering the holiday season, so this feels normal for this time of year for you. But I think I there it feels like there's a very specific message coming through. It's almost like there's this woman that you're going to visit. It can be a family member. It feels like an elderly person, someone that you maybe visit once in a while, something like that. There is something significant in this relationship for you. Okay, so um spirit is guiding me to tell you that to pay attention to this female presence, this woman, this elderly woman that you either go visit or she's part of your family somehow. And it's almost like there is an opportunity for you to heal something in this relationship for yourself. Feel like you're being of service. Feel like you're doing something good in the world. Okay, feel like you're helping. You're helping her. It's kind of like you're you're helping her spirit, you're helping her cope with this time in her life, okay? And this is a very significant, very beautiful gesture of love and selflessness on your part, okay? Um so that is coming through for you very specifically. In terms of guiding you on your path, I want to say the part about unconditional love, the early part of the broadcast tonight is really for you, like really learning, not so much the body dysmorphia part, but learning to really heal and love your body unconditionally. There's a couple of physical things I'm feeling, nothing alarming, but some parts of you, like the aches and pains. It feels like the body feels heavy to me. So bringing in some of these practices that I suggested tonight to sort of embody unconditional love will actually really help you in terms of the decisions that you want to make. And also, like, yeah, just simplifying how you live, and I think we've talked about this before. My aunt comes to mind in CA, who I have invited to visit. Oh, okay, good, beautiful. There's something about this older woman. It's like she's got stories to tell you, or messages for you, or there's something in the conversation with this woman that's going to illuminate some things that you didn't know about before. And again, embodying these unconditionally loving practices so you can heal some of the stuff that's going on in your body. It feels like aches and pains. It feels like sore joints, maybe even arthritis, something like that, like something going on physically. Spirit's telling me to guide you to really move and stretch, and tend to your physical self by embracing this sense of unconditional love. And again, simplifying how you live, your life, your surroundings, getting rid of the clutter, just cleaning things out. This is also very important for you during this phase. Okay. So yeah, the holidays are coming. So this is a great time to like reconnect with family and purge what's in your home, what you don't need anymore, and just kind of let go of the things that you're not taking with you in the next year. Okay. And doing the unconditional love practices, like the meditation, the mindfulness, the breath work, to create more health in your body as well. Okay, Jenna, that's my message for you tonight. I hope that was helpful. And Jolie. Hi, Jolie. Jolie, the YouTube member. Yay. Welcome, Jolie. Welcome. Welcome. It's good to see you. Jenna, feel free to validate, and I will be right back. You guys, 1 second. I will be right back. Pausing. All right, and we're back live. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your patience. Okay, who's next? Jolie says, hi, Sabrina and everyone. I just had a birthday on Friday. Happy birthday, everybody. Wish Jolie a happy birthday. Well, thank you for celebrating with us and for telling us it was your birthday. And would love to know what this next chapter is bringing. My dreams have been insane and frequent. Okay. So write them down. You want to write those dreams down because that's your subconscious mind sort of, it actually feels like there's two things happening in the dreams. There's they're processing dreams. So you're really kind of, yeah, you're processing some unresolved things. It feels like around, a past relationship, an ex or something like that. There's some energy around that, like maybe feeling unsafe or unloved, or having to start over again. So that's coming through in the dream. And the other part of the dream feels like it's uh yeah, the other dreams feel like they're more like foreshadowing, like what's about to happen or what's coming in my life. And so it feels like there's some things shifting. So usually I'm going to say to you that um, there is a move. I don't know. Jolie says, thank you. I always love when people pronounce my name in a French accent. It deserves. You're welcome. A lot of them have been around former coworkers. Okay. So ex relationships. That makes sense. That makes sense. And it feels like, it's interesting, because what I was about to say is there's a move coming. Okay. And I think you've been maybe thinking about this or contemplating this for some time, but there's a shift coming in your living situation. And it has to do with there's something to do with mom here. So making peace with mom, learning how to like set boundaries with mom. This is your time, and your next chapter is to learn how to really feel confident in who you are. There's a need for self-forgiveness, self-confidence, self-empowerment. Like this is what you're being called to step into so that you can move into this next phase of your life. You need your own space. You need your sovereignty. And even if the physical space takes longer to come, it's still coming, but you have to create that physical space internally first. So the sovereignty internally, first and foremost, so that you can move into this next chapter with confidence and trusting that everything's going to be fine and you're going to be provided for. Okay. It's interesting that the dreams are co-workers, because there is always, there has been some unrest about work situation, work stability, income stability in the past, and that's shifting. So the more you're doing the inner work to claim your sovereignty, to feel empowered and to feel self-confident, it's also really healthy for you to not have your mom in your ear all the time. And I say this with love and respect. There's something about this relationship that sort of like keeps you stuck in that small place of like, I'm not doing a good enough job in the world. So putting a boundary, of course, with love and respect, always putting a boundary there between you and this relationship is going to be very helpful to you as you move forward into this next chapter. Okay. The other thing I want to say too is, yeah, it's interesting, because I do feel like there is a male presence coming through, like either a new relationship or something that you've been contemplating for a while. I know you haven't really made a lot of space for this. It feels like there hasn't been a lot of time for this type of thing, but there is the presence. Yes, I started redoing my space, new furniture, paint, etc. Okay, good, beautiful. So this is this redoing, again, new living environment, very important. Boundaries with mom, very important. And there is a new partnership coming in. So I want you to take it slow. This is a really loving, caring person that's coming into your life who has a lot of patience and a lot of, he's not your typical, like he's not the type that you normally go for. And that's a good thing. It's actually a good thing for you to date a different type of person. Like he might be older, but he's got wisdom, and there's a certain gentleness about him that I feel. So this feels like it's right there in your energy field. So, again, this is less about predictions, and it's more about like, this is the byproduct of where you're headed as you embody more sovereignty and start to claim your space and start to create better boundaries and develop your self-confidence. You're going to attract this type of energy into your life. And the reason I can be specific about it is because it feels very, very close, very, very not far away, essentially. Okay. So that's my message for you tonight. And she says, correct. I haven't dated in a few years. I'm almost embarrassed to date. LOL. Don't be embarrassed. I think it's beautiful that you're starting to consider it. It feels like you're coming out of a long period of being single, of being alone. And you're ready for this. You really are. It feels like you spend a lot of time sort of rebuilding yourself from the inside out, and being a parent and being focused on your child's needs and so on. And I think that this is your time now. You're entering into a space of sovereignty and really, you know giving yourself permission to have fun and to get your needs met, which is so important. Okay. um I haven't focused on dating, but I feel like I'm ready. Yeah, good. It's right there. It's one of those things where you don't plan on running into someone or meeting someone, but it happens. It's because it's part of your karmic path to meet this person, and this person's going to actually help elevate you somehow. It feels like. Thank you for that confirmation. It feels good to hear. You're welcome, Jolie. Thank you for being here, and thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to our community. So for those of you that are members, go to the post section. Of course, after Oracle Hour, go to the post section, and there are posts for members only where you can follow the prompts and get on an email list so you can receive all your perks. Okay. Thank you for being here, Jolie. Beautiful. Okay, who's next? Okay, Emily says, hi, Emily. Emily says, I'm overwhelmed. Okay, uncertain about many aspects in life currently, including health, relationships, career. I'm going to ask for guidance, advice from spirit without a question in mind. Okay. I'm going to pull you closer. Here we go. Um, okay. So, I mean, you need to ground. It's the first thing you need to do is ground. Okay. Um, I just taught a peace process in our community. So if you are an Inner Oracle community member, you can go and watch that replay. It's a really important grounding self-regulation exercise that I really want you to use. It's so important for you to just let go of trying to fix things on the external plane. Okay. So you need to ground, you need to breathe diaphragmatically, and just trust that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. And, you know, it's all connected. I mean, you think it's separate, but it's not. It's really all connected to each other. So start with the body. There was a reason why you're here for this broadcast tonight. Start with your relationship to your body, your physical symptoms, your health. Okay. Start there, because without that, we don't have much of anything else. Right. So I want you to start with your health. Spirit's guiding me to, like, you know, yeah, Spirit's guiding me to tell you to, like, focus on a more intuitive eating, holistic path for your health. Um, it feels like you need more sleep, like better quality sleep. Um, yeah, it's the health is really the predominant thing. So, um, make sure you're not sleeping in next to any electronics either. Like, this is common sense, but I really feel like called to say this. Like, there's a lot of busyness in the mind, and your body's not fully resting. Okay, so that's why you're waking up feeling tired and feeling lethargic and feeling like you don't have the motivation to do the things you want to do. Okay, everything feels heavy and hard right now, so we got to get your health back online so that you can feel like you have the energy to move through the day and do the things you need to do for yourself. Okay. This is very important for you. Emily says, yes, always busy. Okay, good. Um, yeah, you have to slow down. Your energy is so scattered. Um, okay. So here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not a medical professional, but I want to say to you that I think it feels like there's either something that you're taking or maybe something that you're using Western medicine for that you don't really need. Okay. What needs to happen is either a detox or a cleanse that will help you get back into natural, organic relationship with your physical needs, your nutritional needs, and the way your body needs to function. This is so important, and it gets so overlooked because, when we don't feel well, we hurry up and we take something to alleviate symptoms, and it doesn't actually solve the problem. In fact, all it does is kind of delay the thing that we're not. I've been choosing to cook instead of ordering out with more healthy food. Okay, good. Beautiful. I love that. So again, this is a great step in the right direction. Also, like this, whatever this medical concern is that we're relying on Western medicine for, is not, this is something you can heal. You can heal it with your belief system, with your intuitive eating, and with your healing, just your relationship to your body, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast tonight. Okay. This is very important for you. Okay. So getting your health back on track is going to give you, yeah, it's going to give you the space and the clarity, because it feels like there's a little bit of brain fog as well. So it's going to give you the space and the clarity to tune into, like, where you're going to go next in your job. Okay. Um, Yeah, this career path that you're on feels like a dead end. Okay. It feels like there's nothing beyond this door for you. It's just like you're here and you've been doing this, and it's just like there isn't room for growth and expansion, or it's something that you're just kind of burnt out from. Okay. It feels like um, like this is coming to the end of its time in the evolution of your human journey. Okay. So there's going to be I have health issues generally, but I am also over sync all of the new food trends. Okay, good. So tonight's broadcast was for you for sure, because I was talking about, like, how we're always trying to use food or food trends or diets. It's kind of like trying to manipulate outcomes. We're using different strategies to create different results so that we can feel a certain way. It's no different than trying to create outcomes in any other area of your life. Okay. So your body knows what it needs. If you learn to ground and settle into your intuition and trust its own rhythms and feed it intuitively, you're going to step into alignment with what you actually need, which is spirit's telling me it's like, simple ingredients and small, but often like almost like grazing, like not big meals. Okay. Especially not before you go to sleep, because it's preventing you from fully resting. Okay. So, um, you say I have health issues generally, so stop declaring that. Don't keep declaring that you have health issues. Start declaring that I'm in perfect health. This is important. Doing the subconscious work is very important, but you're shifting your belief system around your health is super important, because your belief system, as I mentioned earlier, influences every cell in your body. So I am in perfect health. I'm whole and complete. I sleep better. I eat healthy foods. I make loving food choices for my body to support my physical body. These are all wonderful affirmations for you to listen to at night before you go to sleep on some app, or you can record them on your phone. This is important. Okay. So the other thing I want to say about your career is that there's a shift coming. Okay. So you're either shifting into a different department or different level of responsibility or different, so grounding, healthy food, small portions, electronic, yes to all of those for you. Yes to all of those. The other thing too is I want to say is there's a shift in your job situation. Okay. Stop trying to figure this out with your mind. If you really just focus on these things, just take, because this is part of your pattern, Emily, is that it feels like, you look at the whole staircase, and I want you to just look at the next step in front of you. The next step in front of you is to get into alignment with your physical health, and this will clear up the brain fog, and it will allow the clarity to come in. It'll give you the energy you need to start showing up at work perhaps differently, and to see for yourself that this is like, this job is not actually fulfilling for you. It's not really lighting you up. It's not really something that brings you a lot of joy and passion. Okay. So there is a shift in the work that you're going to do, but it's going to require you being uncomfortable. And in order for that to happen, you've got to be healthy. Okay. This is the first and foremost. Okay. So put your focus on that. First and foremost, getting your health back on track. And it's an easy fix. It's just going to require little adjustments. Yes to staircases. Thank you for all of your guidance. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I feel you. It's like, this is what the mind does. We want to feel safe, and we want to survive, and we want to figure out what the best solution is, because we're trying to create we're trying to get our needs met. Essentially, all human behavior is an attempt to get our needs met. And so when you look at it from that lens, it's okay. So what strategies am I implementing? Are they constructive? Are they healthy? Are they in alignment with unconditional love? If they're in alignment with unconditional love, then I'm on the right track, and just taking it one step at a time. There's only so much you can accomplish in a day, right? So again, don't push yourself. You push yourself really hard, Emily. And I feel like you need to rest and relax and let go and say, I've done enough for today. Okay. Today I've done enough for today. And there is a shift in career for sure. This is a dead end, this career choice, the career that you're in, and there's something else coming, and we can talk about that, perhaps next time. Just getting, it's kind of like going on and on. So Emily says, yes, I do. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure you're aware that this is what's happening in your body, and that this is where you need to bring your attention so that everything else can open up for you. Okay. That's my message for you tonight, Emily. Thank you for being here. All right, good. Hi, Tina. Hi, Tina. How are you? Shiloh says, where's Rhonda? I know, right? Where is Rhonda? I'm gonna have to reach out to her. Tina says, hi, Sabrina. Any spirit guide messages for 2026? Thank you. Oh, beautiful. I'm actually gonna do an end of the year, New Year's Eve channeling special on Oracle Hour. So stay tuned, because we'll schedule that live. I can't believe it's almost already the end of the year. I don't know where this year has gone by. Let's see what I have for you tonight, Tina. So the first thing I see when I tune into your energy is like a sunset. So you're staring off into the sunset. It looks like a horizon. I actually feel like this is a trip you're taking, and you're sitting outside and you're watching the sunset. Kind of feels like a mountain range, but it also feels like a desert vibe. So I don't know if you're planning a trip or maybe if this is where you live, but there's this scene of you kind of staring out into the sunset, and it feels like peace. Okay. It feels like, again, rest and reprieve. Like there's a lull between whatever you've been doing up until now and into the next year. There's like a period of 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 just just unplugging from life, and this is the message that I'm getting for you tonight clearly, is to unplug and to retreat into this area of what I'm seeing. Either I don't know if it's a weekend trip you're taking or something like that, but there's something that either you feel called to do or you've been contemplating for a while. Spirit saying go, like go and be in nature, go and communicate. It actually feels like it's like I see that there's like red rock around you. So maybe it could be Arizona or Sedona or something like that. But this trip is kind of creating an opening for you in your heart. So it's opening up some kind of spiritual experience or spiritual connection to your higher self, some, feeling more embodied in your life, feeling more grounded. There is a part of you, I want to say, going into 2026 where you're going to just kind of drop the need to prove, drop the need to earn your place in the world. Like there's a part of you that just kind of like, I don't want to say you stop caring, because you are a person who cares deeply, but you're stopped trying to earn your place in this world. And for this makes sense to you, you can validate if this is resonating for you. Yeah, it feels like there's a shift in your whole outlook. There's something, you're coming back from this trip, it feels like, and there's like a shift in your perception, and you're open to a different type of experience, and you're not putting up with the same things you were putting up with in 2026. And this is the question that you asked me. Like Tina says, yes. Okay, good. I'm assuming it's yes to all of it. So again, there's like you just drop the pretense, you drop the caring, you drop the trying so hard, and you just kind of like don't really care what people think anymore. Now it's about you, and it's about how you want to live and the choices that you're making, which are going to be a little unconventional in 2026. There's some big shifts coming for you that are sort of outside of your normal, and you need this because yeah, I feel like you're coming off a long period of being tired and exhausted. And you're letting go of some relationships as well, especially the ones that need you to perform in a certain way. There's a part of you that's just like, I don't have the energy for this anymore. I'm not going to show up in this way anymore. I'm not going to invest my energy into a relationship where I cannot be myself. Okay. So that's a very specific message for you, Tina. And that's what's coming is, you know, uh, sort of parallel to this, like spiritual heart opening. It's almost like it's just like a connection to nature. It feels like, it doesn't feel like this big explosive thing, but like a subtle connection to nature, where there's like some insight coming through, a period of rest and reprieve as you come back into your life. You're now sort of like, not you're dropping the pretenses, and you're dropping the need to prove, and there's a new version of you going into your life next year with very, very different mindset, a very different outlook on what you can create, and you have the capacity to create it. You've just been putting your energy in, managing relationships that don't serve you, and having to prove and earn your worth, and so all of that is kind of falling away in 2026. Okay. That's my message for you tonight, Tina. Thank you for being here. Beautiful. Okay, who's next? Dietrich says, I've always wanted to freelance, but I lack structure. What you said resonates. Thank you. Okay, beautiful. I'm glad it resonated for you. Structure is one of those things that you can learn. It's a skill. Hey, Rhonda's here. Shiloh was looking for you. I just want to finish with Dietrich for a second. So structure is not something that we're born with. It's something that we're taught. and we develop it. Okay, so if your parents didn't model structure for you, which seems like they didn't, um, or they over modeled it and you resisted it somehow, I think it's the prior, then this is something you would have to develop for yourself. And we actually need it. Your nervous system needs structure in order to feel safe. It needs that reliability, predictability, the safety of that feeling is going to give you the freedom to express yourself creatively. Okay, so once you develop the structure, then you'll have the freedom to express your gifts, your creativity, so that's something you can learn. All right, and it's not difficult to learn. You just have to have the willingness and the discipline to practice it every day. All right. Okay, let's hear from Rhonda. Hi. Hello, Sabrina, Shiloh, and Oracle community. How sweet of you to mention. I'm in a contemplative mood. Oh, we miss you so much. I feel like you haven't been here in a couple weeks. So I feel your contemplative mood. I really think it's the November, like the shift, the month of remembrance. We had an event at my home last night. It was all about ancestral healing and bringing in our loved ones from the spirit realm to receive messages about our karmic path and what we're here to play out in our family systems and how we're here to heal through these relationships, and specific messages that are about, healing our immediate circumstances and just understanding what we were born into. So this is a very sort of somber time in the year. It's a thinning of the veil for those of you that observe traditions like Samhain and the Day of the Dead, that kind of thing. It's like, we're still in that phase of like, collecting the harvest of our year and looking at what it is that we want to bring into the next year, moving forward. For me, this is very much the end of the year. The beginning of 2026 usually happens for me in November around these traditions, as I look at what I'm bringing into the next year going forward. So I feel your contemplative mood, Rhonda, and maybe this is true for some other participants that are watching, whether you're watching live or the replay. This is a really good time to set intentions for what you're bringing into the next year. Okay, so as you're contemplating, just looking at what you learned this year, how you've allowed this year to expand you, how you've allowed it to help you heal, looking at some disappointments and some hurt or some heartache, and just seeing how this is serving your evolutionary journey of healing and learning to embody unconditional love. Tonight we talked about healing our relationship to our body, and of course I tried to keep it general in terms of just learning to love ourselves, and again embodying unconditional love. And that's the path we all need to be on in order to make the most of this human life. Okay, are there any other questions this evening? Hi, Lakeside Laura, nice to see you. Any advice or heads up from my guides? Thank you. Okay, it's interesting that you use the phrase heads up. um Yeah, it's interesting that you use that because there's some kind of deal. It's a very specific message. There's some kind of deal or bargain or something in your life right now, um, that you need to be paying attention to. There's either I don't know if you're making a major purchase, or there's something, that you're maybe getting rid of. That there's some kind of transaction that's going to require just looking at your relationship to money a little bit. Okay, and really sort of, I want to say, softening your relationship to money and just trusting that you're safe and provided for, and learning how to let go and also learning how to receive. Okay, so this is important. Okay, it's kind of like, again, I always say that the circumstances reflect the lesson that we need the most, and guides are saying trust this, you need this, whatever it is that this is. Like, this is a yeah, long overdue. Either it's as something you need to upgrade or invest in for yourself, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing for where you are right now. So the heads up is sort of, paying attention to these signs that you're being given. Yeah, it feels like either you've been thinking about it, and then all of a sudden a friend is talking to you about it, and all of a sudden there's like, some other sign. So you're getting a lot of signs, it feels like, Laura, and then you're just going to pay attention to, what the universe is trying to tell you. Okay, so there is a shift here happening for you, and Yeah. The other thing I want to say too is, I feel like there's older kids. I don't know if you're still here. What did she say? Black money? Mm. Oh, black money, like as in like ew? Is that what you mean? There we go. Any advice or heads up for my guys? Okay. Yeah, thanks, Lyriel. Okay, black money. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is you got to make peace with this relationship, especially coming in 2026. It's kind of like preparing you for the year ahead. Okay, so there is, yeah, there's some. I feel a shift. Okay, good. So there's something shifting here, and it requires some kind of major investment or some kind of major transaction, but it's going to set you up for what you need in the future. So this is important. Okay. And you are self-reliant in this area. Actually feels like you're kind of on your own in this area, always have been. And so the more you develop that relationship with spirit and partner with spirit to trust and feel ready to receive and accept that you're safe and provided for, the more you'll feel like you're not on your own having to figure this out, and that you have support, and you'll be able to receive more abundance. Abundance doesn't just come from your job. It just comes from a belief system. It can come from any source. Okay. So that is, money is something you're working on in the next, I want to say, the next 6 months. Okay. So don't be surprised, even if you'll come back in a few weeks and sort of let me know how this unfolds for you. You'll be like, oh, I had to do this one thing, and and it involved money, and looking at my relationship to money. The other thing I want to say too is, I don't know if you have an older son. If you're still here, please confirm. There's like, um, yeah, it feels like there's an older son, I mean, a young male energy, hoping it's developing an income. Okay, yeah, yeah, I do, and maybe that's the investment. Maybe you're investing in something that's going to help set you up. That's what it feels like. So there's something about you developing yourself in order to have this healthier relationship to money. Okay. So that's coming. Again, don't keep an open mind. It can be, yes, he's 23 in the Air Force. Okay, good. I see this young man. So thank you for confirming. I appreciate that. It makes the channeling a lot easier. Okay. So there is, uh, there is this, yeah, 23 years in the Air Force. I feel like he is, yeah, he's coming with some good news. Like, he's in a really good place. He's doing very well. I feel like he's really making you proud, and he's coming in with some good news. It feels like, and he's very close to you. So it feels like there's a strong connection between you and your son. I don't know if he's coming home for the holidays, perhaps, but he's coming in with some good news, which is beautiful. It feels like a very happy, very joyous thing between the two of you. And to keep an open mind. Spirit saying keep an open mind to what he is sharing. Okay. Yeah, this is a positive thing for your family. And yeah. And so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Either he's getting promoted, or he's shifting into a different area in the Air Force or something like that, but he's being recognized and noticed, and I feel like there's a really kind of proud mom moment around this energy. Okay. So again, we're dealing with money, we're dealing with the masculine. So I'll say a little more, Laura. The masculine energy in general. She says we are close, but he's overseas until spring, probably. Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like there's good news coming. It's over the holidays. So whether you see him in person, or you just see him over Zoom or something, or FaceTime, or talk to him on the phone, there is good news coming around this relationship from the sun. Okay. Um, good. Yeah, good. So the other thing I want to say too is that we're talking about the masculine. So as you heal your relationship to money, you're healing your relationship to receiving, which makes it more available for you, which makes you more available to receiving love and male partnership. It feels like this has been a long time coming. There's this man that is showing up in your life that is like, this again feels like a slow burn. It feels like something really sort of calm and thank you for the hearts. It feels very calm and very grounded. This is a person who's had to do some deep reflection, but he's clear now on what it is that he wants. Okay, so I see this partnership developing. It almost feels like a really good friendship, and don't overthink it. Just trust yourself and move into this relationship slowly but surely. Okay, again, these are all connected. The relationship to the masculine, this comes from the relationship to your dad, healing that dynamic, internally, doing that inner work so that you can feel safe and soft and relax in what's coming. Totally makes sense about money. I've had a hard time receiving. Yeah. So the money is a reflection of how we receive love, how we receive, support, how we receive, period. Right. So this is important to see that there's no difference. This money is an expression of love. And so giving yourself permission to receive that is going to open up your heart and sort of give you an opportunity to be more in love, which is what you want. Laura, I think that's what you're calling in. Yes, a friendship. Okay, good. Yeah, that's how it starts. It starts as a friendship, but it develops into more than that. It's a slow burn and it's okay. It's supposed to be that for now. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with that. All right. That's my reading for you tonight. And we're going to take one more question, I believe, even though it's 6 o'clock, we'll take one more question. I hope that was helpful, Laura. Thank you for being here. Shiloh says, hi, Sabrina community. I've had my first hape ritual. Wow, what a beautiful night sitting with it. Amazing. I had my first outing with the rest of management on Friday. Nice time. Do you see me getting a bonus at the end of the year? Beautiful. It sounds like there's been a total life upgrade, right? Which is what we've been talking about for some time. So it sounds like you're in it and you're enjoying and you're allowing, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I think so. The short answer to your question is yes, I see a bonus only because you've just been doing so well. You're somebody, Shiloh, who like goes above and beyond. So the people at work are noticing it. You're taking on a lot of responsibility. You're trying your best. You're showing up. You're like very committed. There's a intensity about the way that you work, and it's really sort of evident. Okay, so it's being noticed, and you're gonna get yeah, I actually feel like there's somebody apologizing to you, or maybe like, sort of taking responsibility for like maybe a bit of a rocky start. I don't know if this is making sense to you, but like a bit of a rocky start in your job, and kind of like just saying like, wow, like you really delivered. You really showed up in ways that beyond what we imagined. Okay, so that's coming, which is really great. Okay, and I know that you didn't start I know that you haven't been there long, it feels like, but there's still something in this for you. There's like an acknowledgement at the end of the year. Okay. So I hope that's helpful, Shiloh, and congratulations. Give yourself permission to receive it. Okay. Just like I told Laura. True. Yes, he has. Oh, okay, good. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm assuming you mean some acknowledgement or some kind of apology. So awesome. You deserve that and more. Okay. So all my love to you. And let's go. Let's take Aurora and then we'll stop. Okay. Thank you, Lyriel. Aurora says, hello, Sabrina. Any advice about me starting a business and a relationship? I lost my dad. Does he have any messages for us and family? Okay. So if for those of you that want mediumship, I'm happy to connect you to your loved ones. The link for the gathering, Lyriel is going to put that on the screen for us here in a moment. The next Oracle gathering is November 22nd. And that's when I do mediumship in a group environment. For those of you that want a one-on-one, you can click the link for the November 22nd second gathering. It's a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. It's 2 hours. We all meet on Zoom and everybody gets a message. I connect everybody with their loved ones. That's the place to be if you want mediumship. If you want a one-to-one mediumship, I'm offering a special for the month of November. There is the link for readings, and the coupon code at your checkout process is Ancestor. So you just put in Ancestor when you're checking out, and you can get a 20% discount for the month of November. I'm doing that to honor the season of remembrance. Okay. So it's a lot of requests in one sentence. So bring Aurora's message back, or her question back. Okay. So here's the thing about the dad and the business and the relationship that are all connected. Okay. So there's a lot of scarcity and lack and feelings of not, I want to say, not feeling safe, or not sure if you're going to be provided for. Okay. And this is the theme in all three of these areas. Okay. We could talk to your dad directly in mediumship. For tonight, what I want to say to you is, um, I don't feel like spirit sort of got making me feel like the idea of starting a business is really good, but you're not internally ready for that yet. Okay. So there's some internal work to do for you to develop the confidence and the yeah, the willingness to trust. I talked about this earlier in the broadcast, like the ability to hold the void, and really trust in those ebbs and flows, and be able to be in, even when nothing's happening, to trust the process. Okay. So there's some inner work, inner structure that you need to put in place in order to start this business. I also feel like if there's a specific business in mind that you have in mind, yeah, I don't know if this is with other people. Um, it feels like this is something you're supposed to do on your own. So if the idea is to partner with someone else here, that's not a good idea at this time. Okay. So I would advise you to really focus on developing the internal structure to say, okay, do I have the wherewithal, the emotional stamina, the capacity to be an entrepreneur, to be on this entrepreneurial journey, which again can be a very transformative, very healing journey in terms of developing trust and partnering with spirit, and a lot, and just trusting that you're going to be supported and guided every step of the way. So there's that. And no partnerships at this time. Okay. So that goes to relationships. And that means not because you can't have a relationship, just because there's some healing to do. It's a part of you that's longing for something outside of you. And if you attract a partner with this energy, you're going to attract a partner who's also longing and lacking something internally. And you're both looking at each other to complete the other. And this will lead to dissatisfaction and disappointment in relationship. Okay. So, I want to say that I'm being guided to just tell you to focus on really getting clear on what you want, focusing on your self-expression first and foremost, and then developing the inner structure, the inner work to create an environment that allows you to express that. Okay. And then the relationship will come, my condolences for losing your dad. I can feel the grief of that. I actually feel like there's a lot of tightness in the lungs, in the chest area. That could be his chest area and yours. And a lot of times we hold grief in our lungs. Okay. So this is something that, um, and again, I feel like dad is supporting you in you starting your own thing, and giving yourself permission to trust that you have what it takes to do this, like not being in your head so much, but really trusting that you're going to be safe and provided for. And again, has to be the idea of partnering with someone else is more of you sort of reaching out and trying to latch onto something that's going to give you that sense of security. This is your time, this phase that you're in, to develop that sense of inner safety. Okay. That's my message for you tonight, Aurora. Thank you for being here. And if you want mediumship, again, the link is available for all those of you that want to participate in our Inner Oracle community. There's the readings link. If you join the Inner Oracle community membership, you have free access to our gathering. It's every second or third Saturday of the month, depending on when it falls. But there's one gathering every month. It's a combination psychic gallery and mediumship demonstration. So this is where I do mediumship readings in a group environment. So you're all welcome to join our community, and you have access to ad-free content. Plus, you get access to the gathering as well. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there with me. We went over 10 minutes. My goodness. Emily says, do you have to be a member to get the mediumship? No, you don't have to be a member to book a mediumship session. There is Illyrial answering you. You can buy a one-time ticket to the gathering, or you can book a one-to-one reading. Okay. So again, Emily, we'll put the link for the gathering and the readings at the end of the video. I'll pin it in the comments so you can come back and see where to book. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you for being here with me tonight. I'm sending you all my love.